Jimmy and Polly, a dark cryptid and a light cryptid, are in love. They would never kill and eat each other. I mean, Jimmy is willing, if Polly needs it, to fill her belly with his meat.
Whoa, howdy, finally, senior citizen here. And I'm ready to crack some skulls.
Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and to all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Once again, I have the fan on in the window. My door is open. My housemates left early this morning. I do not know when they're coming back, so it could be while I'm recording. It could be later today. No ideas. If they do, I'm going to shut the door, but for right now, it's 50-something outside, and I have to have the fan on and the fan out there and the doors open to keep the air moving. It's only going to hit 60s today. And I'm in low 50s with the fans on and wearing a t-shirt just because I don't do well in heat. Thumbs up for that. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully the weather's going to be fairly nice wherever you happen to be. I mean, climate change is roaring at us whether we like it or not. So thumbs up for that. Anyway, though, front loading of videos. Hey, if you could toss me a like, if you like what you hear and see, that'd be awesome. Excuse me. If you could toss me, well, if you could subscribe to the channel, if you like what you hear and see and you haven't subscribed, that too would be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that would be double plus good. And of course, I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons, these literally beautiful and literally awesome people who are in fact literally beautiful and literally awesome, helping to keep me and my pets alive. I have one hamster and I have one very, very old kitty cat. So without these people's help, well, we'd all be hosed like Christmas monkeys. So if you would like to help keep me alive, there are links to the Patreon in the video description. There's links to a PayPal if you'd like to help me out but not become a patron. And if you'd like to help me out without it being financial, I can speak English, I promise you that. I have an Amazon wish list link down below as well as a post office box that nobody sends anything to, but it is available, and the links are, the post office box is in the video description as well. Anything sent to me will be shown off in video. So hey, front loading of videos over. Thumbs up for that. Anyway, though, it has been a day. Yesterday I had therapy, as well as I remembered and then was able to push through the executive dysfunction to actually make a call and order some supplies for my VPAP machine. Now, you may have heard of a CPAP machine. If somebody you know has sleep apnea, or like a parent or you or somebody, a CPAP machine is a constant positive airflow. I have a VPAP, variable positive airflow. It can ramp up and down and adjust according to how I'm breathing. Thumbs up for that. But I got that done. I did have therapy. We talked about a lot of stuff. I talked about how my head's really not doing all that well. And it could be because of a non-clinical dosage of the Wellbutrin, because apparently antidepressants, if you need it at this level and you're given it at this level, your mood is going to suffer because of that. You're going to actually do worse. So you need to be brought up like this, and I'm going to be moving to 150 milligram extended release. So hopefully that'll help my depression. Hopefully that'll also keep helping with the ADHD. I get more energy and I get less time blind on the Wellbutrin, but I haven't been able to thoroughly focus on all that. I am still periodically using bits of my Ritalin, not as much as I used to take, and being very, very careful because I can actually sleep when I take stimulants. When I take Ritalin, which is methylphenidate, which is a form of methamphetamine, when I take that, I fall asleep. Past 6 months since I had to stop taking Ritalin in March, my sleep has just gotten steadily worse. I was sleeping 6 hours a night back then. Now I'm lucky if I hit 3. Since I started using the Ritalin periodically over the last week, I've been sleeping better. and I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, but I know I talked about it with my therapist. When you're taking a drug that causes a reaction in your body, and you take another one to counteract that reaction, it's not having this medicine just cancel out and make this part of the effect go away. No, it's just this medication is stressing out a part of my system, so it's sending out these stress hormones that's raising my blood pressure. And then the other medication, using other means, is bringing my blood pressure down. So this system is still stressed out. But effectively, by taking this med, we're just reaching over, turning the alarm off, and continuing to run the machine. That's not good, so I can't take Ritalin past just using up the Ritalin I have. I have a month's worth because I stopped just as I got the new bottle. But being able to sleep and concentrate a little bit, life is life though. One of the things that happened before I went walkies yesterday that's both funny and rather irritating, I have a landline. And part of that is it's a portable phone, so it's got a battery. Of course, I've had it up here past couple because I've tried to make phone calls. I hadn't realized how bad the charge was, so the phone rings, I look at it, I'm not sure who it is, I answer it, and then I immediately recognize my genetic father's voice talking to me. At the same time as the phone gives me that, "Oh, we're going to die if you don't hang up now" sound. So I had to immediately interrupt them and say, my phone is about to die. I can't talk. And so I had to just say, "I'll call you back," and then hang up and then charge the phone. So hopefully I'm going to be able to call him today. As I talked with my therapist, true executive dysfunction, as we speak of it, is actually caused by some forms of brain damage, physical brain damage. So when people with ADHD and such talk about having executive dysfunction, it's not true executive dysfunction. But since the end result is exactly 100% the same, I'm sure there are minor, well, probably major differences, since one is a structural damage change and one is because, well, it's a structural change as well, but it's because of, like ADHD or such. It's not the cause of trauma. So, try to remember what I was talking about now. Oh my God, the executive dysfunction. So the effect is the same, but the reasons are different. You still are looking at a picture of just nonsense, and you have to spell the name of the animal in the picture before you can do something. But it's a random picture of garbage. How are you supposed to answer that question? Is it a trick question? Is the answer on the back? So until you decipher the picture, you can't do what you want to do. Yay. Let me see if there's anything else on my list of stuff that happened today. Oh yes, I was watching a James Stephanie Sterling video today about the game Steel Rising by the developers Spiders, who make really, really janky stuff. And one of their games, Gloomfall, I have played the beginning tutorial part of it, and I've done some of their other stuff in the past. It's janky, goofy stuff, but they've done a game called Steel Rising. And oh my God, just from watching and listening to this video about it, I want it. I don't know if they address why and how the situation is, but you play a robot in a city filled with robots in 1800s Paris. The time of the revolution, and everybody are robots. Oh my God, you don't need to answer any questions. Just make everybody robots and just don't even give me any answers. That's beautiful. Thumbs up on that. But the thing that I really stopped, just absolutely gobsmacked about the game when James Stephanie Sterling said what their view on the game title should be. Because the actual game title is Steel Rising. And who cares about that? They could have called it Bastille. Basteel. Oh my God, that would have been a perfect name. I was cleaning up in here listening to the video, and when he said they could have had Bastille, it was like, I just stopped, looked at the monitor, and was like, oh my God, how could they have passed that by? It was freaking perfect. It's pretty rare you can gobsmack me with a title, and that was one of them. Thumbs up on that. So yesterday, though, actually I didn't get much done. I wasn't able to push through any of the executive dysfunction, to actually play any D100 dungeon, or play any of the note quest, or to read through any of the other role-playing games that I've been downloading. I have a ton of videos to watch on how to adapt other systems to make them solo, and various other things. There's actually a big two types of games that people are doing when they play solo. You can do the absolute solo type, like D100 Dungeon, where you're down, boots on the ground, dirt, you've got the walls of the dungeon around you. There's also the type of solo RPG that is the Hexcrawl, which is you're zoomed up and out, so you're traveling through hex squares that are like anywhere from 1 to 50 or 60 kilometers across. And you're not dealing with boots on the ground dungeon stuff. You're dealing with one people or a party traveling through the countryside. And it's your adventures on the overworld from that viewpoint up above that is the game. You are exploring the world from a bird's eye map view. I've been trying to figure those out. I don't think I'd mind doing that. I watched this one fellow doing the world generation for Note Quest, where if you have the $2 expanded world, you develop an overworld. Because if you're just playing the straight game, the basic game Note Quest, you just go into a dungeon when you start, and then you can leave without dying to replenish, and then go back in and continue from where you were. So you can leave, go back in, but it's just a dungeon. When you get the expanded world, you have to go look for the dungeons. And it's pretty simple. You start off with a home hex right in the middle of a large sheet of hex paper, and that is determined by your race what it is. Then you just roll a 6-sided die for each of the hexes around it. So it can go like mountains, plains, forest, whatever. And then you just roll a 6-sided die to see if there's a fortress or city in it. And then when you move to that hex, it takes up food, and then you roll to see what is around you in those other hexes. And you're developing the world in this very simple fashion. Now, when D100 Dungeon does this, it does it a little bit more in depth, because this one you're just going, okay, you travel from here to here, this is mountains, this is plains, what are the other hexes around you? When you do that sort of thing with the world builder, with D100 Dungeon, you have to determine if there's roads and where the roads go and the hexes for the roads and making sure they match up stuff. And if there are streams, and if there are streams, which direction, and making sure they match up with rivers and the types of terrain. Oh, it is heavy duty. Yay. Now, I have also been doing some creative thinking, so let me talk about what little I can remember about what I thought about on the creative front. One of the things is just how much, because I came to an understanding talking more to my therapist about my cryptid stuff. Before, when it was just a smaller thing with minor characters, it was sort of a individual small minor questions of my own and how to deal with my life that I was working on. I have come to the fuller understanding, especially since I've expanded it further, especially with the questions that I'm having the cryptids deal with, is it's actually largely a struggle for my understanding and coming to terms with my own mortality. I mean, I'm turning 60 in a month. The average quote-unquote lifespan for the American male with money and access to healthcare is 74. And I have seen people who have money and access to healthcare die before they're 70 anyway. So, on average, if nothing goes wrong, I've got about 14 years left. And if, things don't go I can speak English. If things don't go better, I've only got less than 10. So I'm wrestling with my own mortality with my stories and using them to deal with that wrestling and such. One of the things I've continued working on is the light cryptids are changing and becoming more hungry. Even if they don't have to devour human flesh to survive, more and more of them are doing so, and with greater frequency. The dark cryptids are changing as well, but they're becoming more empathetic. Lynn Tanner and his late friend Cornetto, they were actual friends, and cryptids of their types are not supposed to be able to form friendships as people commonly understand them. But they were friends. And dark cryptids like Lynn Tanner are, in their late maturity, he's almost 40, starting to change and becoming more empathetic in that fashion. The newer generation of dark cryptids are also changing, but they're not having to come to terms with it all of a sudden like Lynn Tanner is. This is the reason that the character Jimmy, who dresses and costumes and acts as best he can as a bad boy 1950s Jimmy Dean, jeans, white shirt, leather jacket, motorcycle driving tough guy, he reaches across the aisle to the light cryptids, who are also extending their hand out to the dark cryptids because of an increasing social awareness. And Jimmy and Polly, a dark cryptid and a light cryptid, are in love. They would never kill and eat each other. I mean, Jimmy is willing, if Polly needs it, to fill her belly with his meat. But she's not going to eat him. No matter how much Clausy says, if he ever causes you trouble, just eat him while he's sleeping. Just eat him and get it over with. Just don't even give him a chance. If he even looks like he's going to give you trouble, just eat him. And she's not going to. The cryptids are changing because of our changing fears and hopes and dreams and nightmares and our bests and our worsts and our increasing population showing up in urban areas, because the cryptids are starting to now congregate in the urban areas. In a 1.5 million population area like the fictional town of Brookerton in the non-fictional state of South Carolina has a several thousand population of cryptids. Cryptids are worldwide. What would cryptids be like in, say, India, where the populations of the cities are much, much higher? So many more people. What are the cryptids like there with the fears of those people? Cryptids around the world are different depending on the individual local fears as well as a global changing human fear. So thumbs up on that, and that's something to think about. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank how many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. It's never many anymore, but anything more than 0 is awesome. Thank you so very much. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended, and even though I count American Sign Language, well, you've already seen how my brain works. So, my lower plate, because yes, I have dentures, keeps clicking up against my upper plate today, and I don't know why, but it's very loud, so if you hear it, my apologies. We have Jesse Koskinen, always good to see you in the comments, and yeah, both Bethesda and Nintendo really should put Morrowind on the Switch. It would be a good idea. And Adrian_FNTES, have they in modern lore solved what happened to the doors? The last I saw was, I stopped playing mid Skyrim, so I don't know. But good to see you. And then we have Ryan El Bosco, thumbs up and thank you very much. JAYY, always good to see you in the comments. Good thing. Then we have Loco5, thumbs up and thank you very, very much. Good to see you as well. Ben B, good to see you as well in the comments. A definite good thing. Chris Ryan / Horror Files, good to see you as well. Definitely a thumbs up on that. RJ Mitchell, thumbs up and thank you very much for the comment. Greatly appreciated. And that is it. 8 people, excuse me. 8 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours to get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only for a short time, and if only in text. It is appreciated. And of course, if you have watched this far, Hokey SMOKES, we're like 20 minutes into it. You don't have to watch, but you do. Nobody forces you, and it is appreciated to no end. Thank you so very much. And of course, if you can do what you can do today, please do so, but don't beat yourself up if you can't. That will not help you. It'll only make you feel bad. And you don't need to get sick, especially with the diseases out there that can kill you. Please take appropriate precautions for your location and situation. You don't need to get sick. You don't need to make other people sick. You don't need to toss your body onto the end-of-life corpse pile before it's your time. Or anybody else's time. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is a very good thing.